If you just moved to the United States or you are planning to move soon, there is one number that will control almost every part of your financial life here. It will decide whether you can rent an apartment, buy a car, get a phone plan, or even qualify for a loan. And the scary part? When you first arrive, that number does not exist for you. You are completely invisible to the American financial system. Even if you have money in your bank account back home, even if you have a perfect credit record in your own country, none of that counts here. You are starting from zero. But here's the good news. You do not need a social security number to start building this score. And in this video, I am going to show you exactly how to do it, step by step, in the fastest way possible. So let us start with the basics. What exactly is a credit score in the United States? Your US credit score is a number between 300 and 850. Think of it like a trust score. The higher it is, the more American banks and lenders trust you with their money. If your score is below 580, that is considered poor. Between 580 and 669 is fair. Between 670 and 739 is good. Between 740 and 799 is very good. And anything above 800 is excellent. Most immigrants start with no score at all. Not a bad score, just no score. And that is actually its own problem because lenders do not know what to do with you when there is no history to look at. Now, before we talk about how to build this score, you need to understand what actually affects it. Because if you do not know this, you will make mistakes that set you back by months. The most important factor is your payment history. This is 35% of your entire score. That means whether you pay your bills on time is the single biggest thing that decides your credit score. Just one late payment, even one payment that is 30 days late, can drop your score by 60 to 110 points. That is not a small number. That is months of hard work gone in one mistake. The second biggest factor is credit utilization, and this one confuses a lot of people. This is 30% of your score. Credit utilization simply means how much of your available credit limit are you actually using. If your credit card limit is $500 and you spend $400, that is 80% utilization, and that is very bad. The rule is simple. Try to stay below 30%. If your limit is $500, do not spend more than $150 on that card. And if you really want a strong score, the best performers in America keep their utilization below 10%. Then there is the length of your credit history, which is 15% of the score. This is simply how long your accounts have been open. This is why you should never close an old account, even if you do not use it anymore. Closing it removes that history and can hurt your score. The remaining 20% is split between the types of credit you have, like whether you have cards, loans, and other products, and how many new applications you have recently made. This last point is very important for immigrants. Every time you apply for a credit card or loan, the bank does something called a hard inquiry on your file. Each inquiry can drop your score by 5 to 10 points. So if you apply to 5 banks in 1 week, you have already damaged yourself before you even started. Now here's the question every immigrant asks. Can I build a credit score without a social security number? And the answer is yes, absolutely yes. Here is something that most people do not know. The credit bureaus, the companies that track your credit, do not require you to be a US citizen. They do not even require you to have a social security number. What they need is some form of identification that lets them track your financial activity. And that is where something called an ITIN comes in. An ITIN stands for Individual Taxpayer Identification Number. It is a 9-digit number issued by the IRS, the US tax authority, for people who need to file taxes but are not eligible for a social security number. This includes non-resident foreigners, international students, immigrants on certain visa types, and their family members. And the powerful thing about an ITIN is that 7 of the top 10 credit card companies in the United States will accept it instead of a social security number. That includes big names like Bank of America and Capital One. To apply for an ITIN, you need to fill out IRS Form W-7. You will need your passport or another government-issued ID and proof of your immigration status like a student visa or work visa. You submit the form to the IRS, and it can take between 6 and 11 weeks to arrive. So if you are planning your move to the US, apply for this as early as possible. But what if you do not have an ITIN yet? What if you literally just arrived and you have nothing except your passport? This is where the financial world has actually started to catch up with immigrants. There are now several platforms specifically designed for people in your exact situation. Let me walk you through the best ones. The first is Sable Card. This is one of the most immigrant-friendly options available right now. You do not need an SSN. You do not even need an ITIN. You can apply with just your passport, online, in about 5 minutes. And they have what they call a zero-fee promise. No account fees, no ATM fees, no international transfer fees. For a brand new immigrant, this is a very strong starting point. The second option is Zolve. With Zolve, you can apply using your passport, your visa, and proof of address. They offer credit limits of up to $10,000, which is very high for someone with no U.S. credit history, and they offer cashback rewards as well. The third option is First Card. First Card accepts your ITIN, your passport, or even your visa. There is no hard credit check, which means applying does not damage any score you may already have. And very importantly, they report your payment activity to all three major credit bureaus: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. This is critical. You always want a card that reports to all three bureaus, not just one, because lenders check different bureaus and you want your history to show up everywhere. And then there is something truly special called Nova Credit, specifically their credit passport service. Nova Credit is a company founded by immigrants who are frustrated by this exact problem. What they do is translate your credit history from your home country into a format that US lenders can understand. So if you have good credit in India, the UK, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, or several other countries, Nova Credit can bring that history with you to America. American Express is partnered directly with Nova Credit, which means when you apply for an Amex card in the US, you can use your foreign credit history to get approved, sometimes instantly. Now let us talk about something very important that nobody warns immigrants about. Imagine you worked hard for 6 months building credit using your ITIN. You used your secured card responsibly, you paid on time every month, your score has started to grow. Then finally you qualify for a social security number and you get one. You think everything automatically transfers, but it does not. Your credit history built under your ITIN does not automatically connect to your new SSN. You have to contact all three credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, individually by letter, and request the transfer yourself. Many immigrants lose months of their hard work simply because nobody told them this step existed. And there is another trap that catches a lot of people. It is called the authorized user trap. Becoming an authorized user on someone else's credit card is actually one of the fastest ways to build credit. If a family member or trusted friend in the US adds you to their credit card account, their entire payment history on that card can appear on your credit file. That can jumpstart your score very quickly. But, and this is a big but, if that person has a bad payment history, late payments, or high credit utilization, those negatives will also come onto your file. So before you say yes to becoming an authorized user, make sure the person has a clean, strong credit history. Otherwise, you are better off building from scratch on your own. Let me now walk you through the actual step-by-step process in real time so you know exactly what to do and when. In your first 1 to 2 weeks in the US, your priority is to build your foundation. Start your ITIN application with IRS Form W-7 if you do not already have an SSN. Open a US bank account. Sable, Zolve, and credit unions are your most flexible options and do not require an SSN. Make sure you have a US address because almost every lender will require one. In weeks 3 and 4, it is time to get your first credit product. And this is very important. Apply to only one option. Do not apply to multiple cards or loans at the same time. Choose one. If you have a passport and just arrived, go with Sable Card or First Card as your secured card. Put down a deposit of $200 to $500. That deposit becomes your credit limit, and it is fully refundable when you close the account. Use the card only for small, regular purchases, like your grocery shopping or your phone bill. Then pay the full balance every single month before the due date. Do not carry a balance. Do not pay just the minimum. Pay everything off. If you already have good credit history from your home country and your country is supported by Nova Credit, go directly to American Express through their credit passport program. This can potentially skip months of waiting and get you a proper unsecured credit card right away. From month 3 to month 6, your job is to let time work for you while you stay consistent. Set up autopay on every bill so you never accidentally miss a payment. Keep your spending on that card below 30% of the limit at all times. And here is a passive boost. If you have a social security number, use a free tool called Experian Boost. It is a feature from the credit bureau Experian that connects to your bank account and adds your rent payments, utility bills, phone bills, insurance payments, and even Netflix and Spotify subscriptions to your credit file as on-time payments. It does not cost anything, and it can increase your score without you doing anything extra. By the time you reach months 6 to 12, your FICO score should exist. Remember, FICO requires at least one account open for 6 months before it can even calculate a score. Once your score appears, you can go to annualcreditreport.com, which is the official, completely free government-backed website, and check your full reports from all three bureaus. Do not pay for score monitoring services. Many of them charge $20 to $30 a month for something you can access for free. After your first 6 months of clean history, you can consider applying for a second credit card. Having two cards with low balances actually helps your utilization ratio and your credit mix. You can also ask your current card issuer to increase your credit limit. This automatically lowers your utilization percentage without you having to spend less. Now let me show you what is actually at stake here. Why does this matter so much? Right now, with no credit score, if you try to rent an apartment, a landlord will likely ask you for a large cash deposit up front, sometimes 3 months of rent, or they may simply reject your application. With a score above 700, you walk in as an equal. With no score, a phone company will put you on a prepaid plan with no contract options. With good credit, you get the same deals as everyone else. With no score, your car insurance premiums are often much higher because some insurers check credit as a risk indicator. With good credit, you can potentially save 20 to 40% on that same insurance. And with no score, the best credit card you can qualify for has a $200 to $500 limit with your own money as collateral. With a 700 plus score, you are looking at $5,000 to $20,000 limits on real unsecured cards with rewards and cash back. This is not just about credit. This is about your quality of life in the United States. Let me also share a couple of very recent updates that matter for 2025 and 2026. As of July 2025, mortgage lenders can now use a scoring model called Vantage Score instead of FICO when evaluating home loan applications. This is significant for immigrants because Vantage Score can generate a score for you faster with less credit history than FICO requires. So if you are thinking about buying a home in the US, this is actually good news for newcomers. Also, a company called Nova Credit has recently expanded its partnerships beyond credit cards. You can now use your foreign credit history to apply for auto loans, student loans, and even apartment rentals through partner platforms. If your home country is on their supported list, this is a shortcut you should not ignore. One final warning before we wrap up. Lenders are becoming more cautious right now. In early 2025, the number of borrowers who are more than 90 days late on their payments jumped above pre-pandemic levels for the first time in 5 years. This means banks are tightening their standards. They are looking more carefully at thin-file applicants, people like you who are just starting out. This is not the time to be careless with a payment or max out a card. Every single thing you do in your first year of US credit history matters more than it will ever matter again. So let me leave you with the 5 rules that will determine your success. Rule number 1, if you cannot get a social security number right now, get your ITIN as your first priority. It unlocks 7 of the top 10 credit card issuers in America. Rule number 2, start with one credit product only. One secured card or one authorized user account, not 5 applications in a week. Rule number 3, never use more than 30% of your credit limit, ever. Rule number 4, pay your full balance on time every single month. One missed payment can cost you 60 to 110 points. And rule number 5, after 6 months, go to annualcreditreport.com and check all 3 of your credit reports. Make sure your history is showing up correctly across Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You came to this country to build a better life. Your credit score is one of the most powerful tools you have to do exactly that. And now you know exactly how to build it, even without an SSN, even starting from zero, and faster than most people think is possible. If this video helped you, please share it with someone who just arrived in the US or is planning to move soon. They need this information. And if you want the full beginner finance guide for immigrants, covering bank accounts, taxes, credit cards, and more, subscribe and stay with us. Every video is made specifically for you. See you in the next one.